Today we're in search for the best YouTube studio lens for the Canon M50 and the Canon M6 Mark II. Basically the best of the EFM mount lenses for a YouTube studio shot like this. And like so many of my other videos, I really love to do these as a blind test because that way I can show you all the different shots and your idea of the expensive lens sort of tainting how you feel about the image you're seeing is taken away. And hopefully you'll just have a completely unbiased opinion of all these different shots. And then at the end, I'll let you know which lens is which and what you're looking at. I'm going to be testing 6 lenses today, and I think these are the 6 lenses from my collection that would be best suited for this sort of YouTube studio style shot. And included in that will be the kit lens. So keep an eye out. It'd be very interesting if anybody picks the kit lens as the best shot or the best image, because you probably already own that lens. Now, if you haven't already picked up on it, we're doing lens A, B, C, D as we go down in the bottom corner. So that's how you're going to know which lens that we're looking at. And I'm going to let you know at the end what is what. But one of the things that's a bit challenging is all the different focal lengths is going to give you a totally different view. And I'm having to move the tripod around and sort of try to find the right framing in the small environment I'm in. So as much as what image you like best, the focal length may lead you to like a certain focal length or a certain look that a focal length gives you, and that may actually outweigh the quality or the price of the lens. So it'll be interesting to see if people end up picking a similar focal length at the end, or if, you know, just it's all over the place. Some people like the wider shot and some people like the tighter shot. And when I look at these different lenses I've got on the desk in front of me, there's a huge disparity in price between all the different lenses I've got. I think the most expensive one is probably a $700 or $800 lens, and the cheapest one I would suggest is the kit lens that either came with your camera or you can buy them on eBay used for something like $60 or $70. So we've got a really broad spectrum of pricing and, in theory, quality of the different lenses we're using. And this lens I've got on now has got one of the tighter focal lengths of the group that I'm using. So this is really just giving me a head and shoulder shot. And in the space that I've got to work with, that's about the best I can do with this particular lens. I don't really have that much space to move around in the small area I've got. But if you have a bigger space, some of these tighter focal lengths could actually give you a different look than what I'm getting in these shots. And before the conclusion of this video, I really do want you to go down in the comments down below and let me know which shot you liked best before I reveal what lens is what. And part of the reason for that is not just to get sort of a group think of what people think is the best studio shot or the best studio lens, but also when I started making this series, I committed to making 100 videos about the EFM mount and the M50, M6 Mark II, and this EOS M line of Canon cameras. And I think I've only done 20 or 30 videos so far, but I am committed to getting those 100 videos out. And it's a project I really wanted to take on. And I've really got myself in gear now, and I'm about to line up and start shooting a whole bunch of videos. I've got an entire series of ideas that I'm going to use. And so I want to know from you which lens you think looks the best, because that's the lens I'm going to use for my series of YouTube studio shots. And certainly it's obvious to me that these wider shots look very different than the closer shots. So it is going to be interesting, and I'm interested in actually getting these on the computer and looking at them full size myself. In the past, the last couple videos I've done more of sort of a head and shoulder shot. But as I'm looking at these in the screen, I don't know about what maybe halfway down the torso and being able to see the hands might be better, or maybe even bigger than that. I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see which focal length people prefer. And when I looked on YouTube and tried to figure out, are people using wider shots, head shots, it seems to be all over the place. And I struggled to pick any consistent focal length or framing that gave me the idea that this was a better quality video, or you really could see the way the person was communicating better. But I am liking these little wider shots, just as I can see in the screen on the camera right now. And as the shots get wider and wider, you're seeing more and more of the room. You're seeing my hands when they move. And that really lets me know if I'm going to be shooting with a wide lens like that, if that becomes the preferred option of the people having a look at these videos, I'm probably going to have to clean my desk up, and I'm maybe going to have to do something with this soundproof mat I've got on the wall. Or maybe not. Maybe that looks fine. Maybe that's part of the look of the whole thing. But I think the more that you get the environment in, probably the more conscious you have to be about what's around you, what's on your desk, and what's on your walls and such. So yeah, this is a totally different shot than the earlier shots, than the closer shots we did. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see if people like those closer shots or the longer shots. So before I reveal what lens was what, I want you to go down in the comments down below now and just let me know which of the angles or which of the lenses you liked the best, or maybe even your top 2 or 3 if you thought a couple of them were good, or if you've got any insight about you like the clarity on one or the background blur on another or the framing on another. Just anything you can add just so the whole community can benefit from that information. And also I can take that and help determine which of these lenses I want to use as I do this series of 100 videos. Your comment and your opinion is as valuable as anyone else's out there, so we would love to hear it. Now, lens A was actually the kit lens, shot at 15mm f3.5. So if you thought that image was good or close to as good as some of the other images, you can save your money because you've already got that lens likely. If not, you can pick one up used on eBay for probably $60 or $70. They can be had very, very cheaply. Lens B was also the kit lens, shot at 35mm. So being a zoom lens, we have got a couple different focal lengths to choose from, and I decided to shoot that one at the 2 different focal lengths sort of to demonstrate the versatility, because the other lenses I shot were all prime lenses. They only have 1 focal length, where you got that shot as well as you could have shot at a longer focal length or anywhere in between. So certainly with the zoom lens, you definitely get some flexibility, but you also don't get the more shallow depth of field. With the other lenses, I was likely able to blur out the background a little bit better. Lens C was one of the best, maybe the best EFM mount lens ever made, and one of the highest quality lenses I've ever owned, and that is the EFM 32mm f1.4. And I really love this lens. I think in general I see it as a little bit too tight for this studio style shot, at least in the environment that I'm in, where there isn't a whole lot of space to play with. But at f1.4 and 32mm, the background should have been pretty well blurred, and the image, certainly on my face, should have been very clean and very crisp. It is a very good lens, and it is the most expensive lens in this series of tests. Lens C is a newer lens to my collection, and actually quickly becoming my favorite prime lens for the EFM mount. And that is the Viltrox 23mm f1.4. And I really can't say enough good things about this lens. It just produces a really incredibly high quality image. And in one of the recent videos, I used that lens for the first time, and I got a comment about how good that studio footage was. So I'm not the only one that thinks that, and even somebody who didn't know which lens I was using made the comment and asked what camera and lens I was using for that shot. So I think that is a really good focal length. It is useful in a variety of different situations, and I certainly think it can be used as a YouTube studio lens, and I think it's quite natural. That focal length and the f1.4 is a real natural fit as a YouTube studio lens. And lens E is the lens I have on now, and that is the Sigma 60mm f1.4. And this is actually a very popular YouTube studio lens. You see a lot of YouTubers use this lens. It's available on EFM mount, but it's also available on Sony, I think. And I'm not sure who else, but it is a very popular lens, certainly on Sony and now on the EFM mount. And I would say it is one of the more popular lenses for vlogging and certainly for this YouTube studio style shot. And the final lens is one of my personal favorite lenses, and I use it for astrophotography and landscape and cityscape. and it's a really inexpensive lens, and that's the Rokinon 12mm f2 lens. And I think these are about $250. I'll put a link down below of where I got mine, and I generally keep a list of whoever's selling the lenses cheapest, and I try to keep those updated in the comments or in the description down below. But yeah, I really, really love this lens, and I haven't used it much for studio shots, but I don't know. I really like the way it looked in the screen. I haven't gotten back on the computer yet to have a look at, but I will do that, and then I'll sort of make my own judgment. But right now, what I want to know is, what is your judgment? What lens did you think was the best? If you haven't made a comment down below, please do, and stay tuned to the channel for my series of 100 videos on the EFM mount, the M6 Mark II, the M50, the M100, and this whole EFM, EOS M lineup from Canon. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.